Warning, the Stone Age Gamer includes a lot of bad language. Cover your mother ears.
Good evening and welcome to episode 144 of the Stone Age Gamer podcast for the week of March 31st, 2017. I am Kris Randazzo, and joining me as always is Great Puma, Dan Ryan.
I'm so excited I get to be Great Puma this week. That's awesome.
It's time once again for the 10-20-30, but before we get any further, here's your weekly reminder that you can email us at mail@geekade.com and let us know what you think of our show, what topics you would like us to discuss in the future, or just say hello, because we always want to hear from you, the listener. We're alive, huh? We're still alive. So usually this is where I ask how you're doing, but I want to say a couple of things.
Okay.
Thing number one, I cannot stop playing Zelda.
Okay.
I have, and now you know me. This is not a very crazy feat for most people, but for me, I have since its launch put in over 30 hours in the game.
Which is crazy for you.
It is crazy for me, and I'm stealing minutes when I should be sleeping and whatnot to play this game. And that also includes the 5+ hours it took me to beat Blaster Master Zero, which I did, which was absolutely outstanding. Blaster Master Zero was so and I got the good ending, which I didn't realize was the good ending. I just thought it was the ending. And then later found out that there was a not-so-good ending.
You got that good hair?
Yeah. It was, I saved the frog, I blew up stuff. See, I beat this part where I thought it was all right, so this is the last boss, this is what I'm doing. And then it was Area 9. So, oh, there's an Area 9. That's new. No, Blaster Master Zero was astounding. I cannot stop playing Zelda, and I'm nowhere near even sniffing the end of that game. I'm discovering new things every day. I love it so much. It's just ridiculous. And
that's awesome.
I can't believe how much I'm enjoying it. I can't believe how much, right now, I'm just itching to find actually, I don't even need to find another shrine quite yet. I've put myself, I set a limit to myself. It's all right, I'm going to find a couple more shrines, and I'm going to get 7 hearts. And once I have 7 hearts, then I will tackle my first Divine Beast. So that's my plan. I'm going to go tackle a Divine Beast after this, if I can stop distracting myself by finding shit all over the world. I found a Goron golfing.
Nice.
He's chilling in the mountains, and he's got this giant golf ball, and you use this stasis power on it. You just hit it with a hammer a bunch of times, and it makes it go flying across this. It's like playing giant golf. It was awesome.
Was he in Florida when he should be back home governing? Is he there every weekend?
No, he was very well spoken.
Oh, well, yeah, there's that. That's that.
He seemed really honest, too.
But the same color, so that's interesting.
Oh, boy. Buzzing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, where's Evan when you need him? And I also got a tempered glass screen protector for my Switch.
Oh,
it is nice.
That sounds nice.
It is very nice. The whole thing is, it just really brings the whole thing up. It really ties the room together. So
nice.
I've been playing a lot of games lately. In fact, just last night I bought Snake Pass because I now live in a world where I have a tiny shred of disposable income. Not a lot, but I'm no longer uncomfortable occasionally buying a nice little indie title. And so it came out yesterday. It's got a David Wise soundtrack, which is one of my favorite composers. So I gave it a shot, and it is a really neat game.
Well, all right then.
It's also on PS4. I recommend you try it.
It is. I've thought about it. I don't know. Well, because see, this past weekend, I finally finished all of the stuff that I wanted to do in Rise of the Tomb Raider.
Mm-hmm.
I went through and did all the challenge tombs and all the crypts and all the caves, and the caves were there's really nothing in them, but the challenge tombs and stuff were all really cool. I finished the Baba Yaga expansion, which was actually the coolest part of the fucking game. It was awesome. The legend of the Russian witch. I don't know if you know Baba Yaga, the story of it.
Nope.
But
it's fun to hear you say.
Baba Yaga. She has this it's this really cool old Russian folk tale, and she's like this crazy old witch and whatnot, and she has this giant like shack of a house that walks on like bird legs. And the way that they showed that in the game was like basically Laura was tripping on mushrooms and like poisonous plants and shit that made it look like there was this giant walking house. And then once you find the antidote for the hallucinogenic shit that's going on, you go back through that area and you see how it's all just like machinery put together, and like it's on like a pulley system, and like it was just really fucking cool the way that they worked that all together. So I finally went and finished everything I was going to finish in that game, and I was like, you know what? It's been a while. I'm gonna play through. I'm feeling a theme here. I'm gonna play through the Uncharted collection.
Oh,
I'm gonna go jump back into that, and I started playing the first Uncharted, and I was like, fuck, this isn't as good as I remember, and like I don't understand because I was playing it like Tomb Raider, and it's not Tomb Raider, but I just got done playing so much Tomb Raider, like it's a shooter. Like at its heart, Uncharted is a shooter with like exploration bits
and hilarious story,
and a phenomenal story. Mm-hmm. But like the first like hour or so I was playing it, I was like, man, this just isn't as good as I like. It looks better on the PS4, but man, then I was like, oh, I'm playing this wrong. I started playing it like a shooter and like actually taking cover and whatnot. And I was like, oh, wait, no, this is good. But yeah, like I started Uncharted, the PS4 version. I started it Saturday night and finished it Sunday morning.
Nice.
Like it took me like 6 hours, and I was just like, all right, I'm just going to play through this. And I was like, oh shit, I'm done. So like I jumped into the second one right away. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if there's a better opening scene in a video game. Have you played Uncharted 2?
Oh, God, yes. Yeah, that Uncharted 2
I don't know
amazing.
that there's a better opening scene than that climbing up the train.
Mm-hmm.
That is fucking harrowing and teaches you all the mechanics you need to know, like about climbing and movement and whatnot, and it's so intense. I had forgotten how intense that was.
That was absolutely intense, and it's been a long time since I played it, but I might have to still give the nod to the opening sequence in the first God of War.
Oh, that's
the
true.
Hydra on the boat. I mean, come on. Like, but that train, you're not wrong. Like, dude, Uncharted 2 is absolutely phenomenal. I loved Uncharted 1. 2 blew me away. 3 didn't hold me for some reason. But
because 3 didn't. I've barely played 3. Like I barely played it when it first came out, and I have it on the collection now, so I'll play through it. But everybody's opinion seems to be that 3 was just iterative instead of innovative, mm-hmm. and it's good. But it's like I just did that.
Yeah,
that's.
I feel like there's been a long enough time now. I might actually, instead of replaying the first 2 first, I might just go straight to 3 because I more or less remember. Mm-hmm. You know, the beats of 1 and 2 and the overall story.
Right.
Like I forget a lot of the details. I do know that for some reason, I do have this distinct memory of the first 2 games, like the end of them revolving around some sort of supernatural beasts. And I think in the second one they were blue, but
yeah, the first
that
one
was kind of weird.
The first one, it's like, why are all the Spanish guys Nazi murder monkeys all of a sudden? That's weird.
Yeah, that's right. It was all just these big, Nazi murder monkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no better way to say that. Yeah, I mean, Uncharted is really quite special.
Yeah, it's good
stuff. Did you play 4?
No, I haven't played 4 yet because there was just so many other things at the time. But mm-hmm. but I'm on this kind of like action adventure game kick right now. So mm-hmm. Rise of the Tomb Raider. I mean, like the game's 2 years old now, but Rise of the Tomb Raider, for anyone who hasn't played it, like get that Baba Yaga expansion and like just do that. Like that's worth it alone. It was excellent, very, very cool. And really the Uncharted collection on PS4, because this is really the first time I'm honestly diving into it, I have the new 4K TV and I don't have the PS4 Pro yet, but even just on the new TV, like the brighter television set that I have versus the 10-year-old flat screen I had, like it looks incredible. It really does. They clean those games up really nicely.
And they didn't even need much cleaning
really
up.
Good.
I mean,
and they really didn't.
Looked great.
But if you look at them now, it's like, oh shit, this is so detailed. And man, like Naughty Dog, they fucking do the Lord's work, man. They are an incredible studio.
Naughty Dog does the Lord's work.
It really does. They really do. They really do. Anyway, so 10, 20, 30,
10,
Chris.
20, 30. So here we go. Let's jump to 10 years ago. And for those of you who this is your first time listening, well, we do the 10, 20, 30 once a month, and we take a look at the big games that came out 10, 20, and 30. And we're going to go ahead and start with 10 years ago in the magical, mystical year, the year of our Lord, 2007. And my screen there it is. My screen had gone black, so I was filling until it came back up because my computer is dying a slow, painful death, and the act of getting in and out of the screensaver is like pulling teeth. So here we are, March of 2007. Our first game on my list is Wario Master of Disguise for Nintendo DS, released on March 5th, 2007. These are all American release dates I'll be giving here. Dan, have you played this game?
I have not.
And it's a good thing because it's not very good. It's not terrible. It's one of those, they had I can't remember the name of the company that actually developed it, and if I trusted my computer to not explode via the internet, I would look it up as we're recording. But look, the 2D Wario games are great. Wario Land 1, 2, and 3 are spectacular. Virtual Boy Wario Land
awesome.
is amazing. Wario Land Shake It for Wii is gorgeous. This game was kind of a disappointment because it was just okay. It was like
it's developed by Suzak.
Oh, fun. Great, very well-known team there.
Storied developer Suzak. They have a cool logo.
Yeah, well, that's something.
They're now defunct.
Oh, really?
They were only around for 12 years. I'm just like, let's see, just real quick. Mostly Japanese games. Oh, they did develop Catan for the N-Gage. But,
side talking.
Yeah, they did F-Zero GP Legend and F-Zero Climax for GBA.
Oh, those aren't bad.
And then
they weren't great. They were far from my favorite F-Zero games, but they were all right.
They did a Shin Megami Tensei puzzle game. That really seems to be about it. Yeah. All right. Anyway, so fuck them.
Yeah. Wario Master of Disguise reminds me kind of those like lesser Yoshi's Island sequels. It's like it's all right, but the heart's just not there.
Why does he look like a luchador on the front?
Because that was the thing with this one, is that he got all these different disguises.
And one of them was a luchador?
Yeah. It's a great concept. It really is. It is.
Yeah, see, that sounds awesome.
It's a great concept because, usually Wario gets these different hats in his games. And in this one, it was just all these ridiculous costumes and stuff. I think there was like a dragon costume and whatnot. And there's so much potential there. It was a really good idea. It just didn't really pan out very well. I don't know. I haven't played it in years. But
looking at the bat one, the dragon one. What is this one? I don't even know what that is. I can't even tell. There's a fork in his ass in this one. I don't understand that. This looks like a zombie. Ooh, Dapper Wario with a top hat. I like that one. That looks pretty sweet. Count Cannoli? Is that not a thing? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm just looking up shit on the internet now, so eventually I'm going to see some fucking weird stuff I don't want to see involving Wario, so I'm going to stop
now
here.
Dan reads the internet.
So that's a shame, man. The 2D Wario games are usually really awesome.
Yeah,
that's a shame.
They're great. I love those, and I love that they did Wario Land Shake It. I hope they do another 2D Wario one of these days.
Yeah.
Would be swell. All right, moving on. March 6th, 2007, the very next day, for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, a game that Dan and I had a brief conversation about before we recorded because we couldn't remember what it was, Def Jam Icon.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
Yeah, they took the Def Jam Vendetta and Def Jam Fight for New York were so over the top and so weird. They were wrestling games starring your favorites in the world of hip hop and R&B on Hot 97. And it was just so weird and strange, but they were good because they took the N64 grappling system, the Aki wrestling engine, and just put hip hop characters on it. So I could be Method Man and like whoop somebody's ass. Like, that's awesome. That was super fun. And then Def Jam Icon, they just like, we're going to get rid of the ring, because the producer said that he didn't feel that hip hop and wrestling really went together. So he went real and brought it to the streets.
Yeah,
and,
except like the streets are all giant boom boxes, and they're they're clearly on the moon because there's almost no gravity in the game.
Yeah.
What a piece of garbage. What an absolute piece of trash this was.
And and it killed that franchise.
It did, because you had wrestling, you had rappers wrestling, which is just this ridiculous peanut butter and jelly sandwich that shouldn't make sense, but it does.
It
and
works.
they were like, no, now it's just going to be a fighting game. And they're fighting games, especially at that point, were just a dime a dozen. And no, this was just a big old bag of no.
Yeah. Boo hiss.
Boo hiss indeed. This next one I don't have a ton to say about, but it was definitely a notable game. This franchise really just kind of went away. NBA
Which
Street
is such
Home
a
Court.
shame.
Yeah, I don't know why this went away.
I loved the NBA Street games.
Yeah, they were fun.
They were so fun.
Remember that really weird one on GameCube that had Mario in it?
Yeah. Oh, God. Ugh. That's the
so
stuff
weird.
I'm talking about. That's the, like, keep Mario out of the, like, no, stop it.
Like, it was absolutely hilarious. Like, you got Mario, Peach, and Luigi playing NBA Street, like, against real proportioned basketball players. But after the novelty wore off, you're just like, wait, what am I looking at here?
Why am I doing this? This is dumb.
This isn't okay. Well, we're talking about NBA Street Home Court for PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. It was released on February 20th of 2007 on 360, and then March 6th on PS3. So there was a bit of a delay. I seem to remember that happening too.
Yeah, this was like the timed 1 month exclusive. There was a lot of that going on like 10, 15 years ago. It was weird,
especially
and
on like the 360 versus PS3. There, like the PS3 got a bunch of games later, because the 360 was like the lead platform for everything back then.
Oh yeah, it absolutely was. Everybody was developing on that system, and
it had the kind of lead that the PlayStation 4 now enjoys over the Xbox One, you know?
Oh, it didn't have that kind of lead.
It's true.
This is kind of special.
This current situation is kind of special.
This is like, oh boy, did you guys like, what do you, Scorpio better be awesome. Just saying.
And just as a weird side note, like, it's turning out, at least it seems to be turning out, that I was remarkably incorrect about the Switch's sales, because it's doing stupid well. Like,
well, it's for now,
yes, but to the extent that I said it was doomed, that I didn't think it was going to even reach Wii U sales, it's seeming likely it might actually reach Wii U lifetime sales within the next year, which is kind of sad.
It is kind of sad, but anyway, Street Home Court. It's the problem with this one was that, again, EA tried to make it real. Like, NBA Street was so fun. It was just a ridiculous fucking. It was NBA Jam. You know, it was definitely the most
modern
fun
basketball game since NBA Jam.
Yeah, like, without question. And then this one, it was every story has or every legend has a beginning, and like it had Allen Iverson on the cover, but like when he was with the Nuggets, and Allen Iverson is a Sixer, like nobody cared about AI when he went to the Nuggets. Like, stop it. What are you doing? This is dumb. It's just at least I think it's Allen Iverson. It might be Carmelo Anthony. I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I think AI had the spiderweb tattoo on his neck. I could be wrong.
I don't know. I don't know nothing about basketball. I know that I thought the original Street was a fun game, and then this just no. You're right. I didn't even think about that when I wrote these down, but this was so much like the same story as Def Jam Icon, where they just tried to make it more real, and in the process sucked all the fun out of it. But that was kind of a direction a lot of games were going at that point. Games had to be serious back then. That's
dumb.
Nobody would. That's what keeps happening. I finally figured it out. I finally figured out why my phone keeps freaking out, because I say the word serious and it thinks I'm saying Siri. That's why my phone goes off randomly in the middle of things. And right now, I'm not going to stop talking, because as soon as I stop talking, it's going to stop recording everything I'm saying. And it's thinking I'm saying everything I'm saying right now too serious. There's a paragraph of text showing up on my screen, and it is absolutely I gave up.
She's going to be like, look, asshole, I got nothing.
Dude, it just closed. She did. She gave the fuck up.
That's awesome. It's like every time I say echo down here, it's like, God damn it. Why are you turning on? Stop turning on. I don't want you to. Like, because we had switched the echo to, fuck, she just turned on twice. We had switched it to say, to the wake word being computer. And, like, that was a really bad idea. Because we wanted to be, like, on Star Trek.
Star Trek, yeah.
But then we were like, turn on the computer. I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. Fuck you, Alexa. I'm not talking to you, bitch. God. Anyway, so they sucked all the fun out of NBA Street, and that franchise is dead now, too. And NFL Street is dead now.
Yeah.
That's a shame. But boy.
Yeah,
Chris.
Next up. March 13th, 2007. This is in the era, like the PS3 and 360 are out. And at this point, it didn't matter, because we got God of War 2 on PlayStation 2. Dan.
Oh, my God. Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Begin.
Fucking Jesus H. Christopher, this game. It is. Look, God of War, we've talked about briefly how, like, God of War is one of those kind of life-changing games, those watershed moments where it's like, oh, things are different now. Mm-hmm. You know, this is going to be the thing that everybody copies. And, you know, QuickTime events were not a thing until God of War. And these big cinematic, like, story-driven games like this were really not a thing until the original God of War. And then God of War 2 came out and was like, oh, no, everything that you thought we did, we're just going to do way, way better and bigger than we had. And, like, the boss fights in this game are disgustingly good. The first one, when you are just going through the city and the Colossus is just this giant statue is destroying the city and, like, coming after you, is, oh my God, it's so good. It's so good. And then there's the battle against the Sisters of Fate in this one. All of the stuff against the fucking Theseus and Perseus are in this one, which are super cool. And Perseus as voiced by Harry Hamlin from Clash of the Titans. Is that is that the first one? Fuck, I can't remember now.
I don't remember either, actually. The God of War 1 and 2 really kind of blur together in my mind, except for the opening of God of War 1, which is like one of the best things ever.
The Kraken fight in this one, like, because you had the Hydra in the first one, but the Kraken in this one is insane. Like, just, this game is so big, and it was, oh my God, it looks gorgeous. It plays just beautifully. There really is no more satisfying combat than God of War. Just rolling around and whipping the fucking chains around. Oh God, it's disgustingly good. I love this game. I love this franchise.
I do too, and I really want to go back to it with the remastered versions. I know they remastered a bunch of them for PS3. Have they done that on PS4 yet?
They did God of War 1 and 2 remastered on PS3, and then they did God of War 3 remastered on PS4, which is really stupid.
There was also a God of War collection, though, that had the PSP ones.
Yep, that you could play on the PlayStation. And then there's also, oh God, what's the fourth God of War that's in between, came out after 3?
Chain of Memories.
No. 365 Days Over 2, I think is...
Dream Drop Distance.
Fuck, I can't remember what it is.
The Revenge.
There's The Revenge. There's 6 of these now. And
it was like Blades of Chaos. I can't remember what it is.
Anyway, that one's really good too. And like the
PSP
ones were
those
really
ones,
good.
But there's no second analog stick. and it is so intrinsic to the God of War gameplay. The second analog stick for the dodge roll, and I could not get used to it. I have the first God of War on PSP, and I couldn't play it. Like, I just kind of gave up on it. I just didn't enjoy playing it on the PSP.
I played through them. There's a really cool bit in one of them with Persephone and like the Fields of Elysium that's really cool, and like they treated it. They took this absolutely ridiculous concept and treated it with respect.
Yeah.
And made just really incredibly solid games out of it. I am so excited for the next one.
And the next one does look very interesting to me, because it seems, storyline-wise, it seems to be a very different animal, you know what I mean? Like,
very much so, yeah.
So I'm curious where they're going with that, and I want to see the series do something genuinely new, because God of War is God of War is God of War. You know, it just keeps does what it does. It does it extraordinarily well, and as technology progressed, it kept upping the ante. But at the core of it, it was still a lot of, you know, just doing some basic combos, and the combat is phenomenal. But I feel like, at least in the ones that I've spent any time with, that the core gameplay didn't really change all that much. You know, you were still essentially doing the same thing, and I want to see them go take it to the next level. I want to see God of War's Resident Evil 4. If I know that's not a great thing to you, but you
I know what you mean, though. Yeah,
what I'm being there. I want to see that happen to that franchise, and it looks like this is going to be that, because it looks like they're not tying themselves to anything. It just, this is in that vein, and we're going to try something different. So
it's a fresh start
for it.
And it should be out this year. There are very few games where I'm like, yeah, day one, no problem. Yeah, like new God of War, without question. Like, we'll talk about it. I'm very excited.
Outstanding.
This was probably, and honestly, like, this is probably the best game that came out that year. I don't know. We'll have to look at it. That'll be an interesting thing to look at the end of the year. Let's do a little show planning here on the show. At the end of the year, we'll go back and like look at our list and talk about it. But I'm calling it now. God of War 2 is probably the best game in
best game in 2007.
Yeah, probably.
That is an interesting prospect.
Yeah. What a bold statement I just made.
Yeah. Game of the year in March.
Yeah.
Well, look, as far, you know, for me, I think that Zelda's going to be a game to beat as far as game of the year. I think it's going to be tough, and just listening to other people in the industry talking about it, I think it's going to be a tough one to top. But we'll see. There's so much good stuff coming out this year. So
there really is. All right, so
yeah. So next up, March 19th, 2007, Nintendo DS Custom Robo Arena. Have you ever played this?
Nope.
Me neither.
So, moving on to another game that I haven't played. What the fuck is this one?
Oh, you never... Oh, man. This is one of those... All right. Literally, we have nothing else to say about Custom Robo Arena.
No, really, I have no
Custom
idea
Robo
what it
is
is.
a neat franchise, but I've barely played it. It is notable that it came out on DS. I'd love to see him bring another one over to the States. The end. The next game on the list, I absolutely love. This came out in March 20th, 2007. It is called Kororinpa, and it was for the Wii. And it is one of the few motion-controlled Wii games that makes all of the sense.
That's right. You've talked about this one.
The marble rolling game.
Yeah.
And the only controls in the game are you move you just rotate the controller in whatever direction to rotate the labyrinth around and then roll the ball. Like, it just makes all the sense. It's not waggling or anything. It's just like, I want it to go this way, so you turn it that way. And the mazes go all crazy 3D. Like, you have to rotate it all the way around and spin it around. It's really charming. It's got great visuals, and the music's really good. There's really good music in this game. It's everything that you would want out of a casual Wii game, and it's one of the few things that couldn't be replicated properly without motion controls. Like, it was the whole point of it was just like playing one of those labyrinth things, except you were doing things you could never do in one of those real life toys, because you were taking advantage of the video game aspect of it. It's just a great game.
Yeah, it sounds like really fun for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I spent a lot more than 10 minutes in it.
Did you?
I did, yeah. because the levels just kept getting more and more devious. It was just like all these weird things, collecting stuff and trying to get from point A to point B without falling off and cursing at the screen a lot, because there was a lot of cursing at the screen. I even made a second one of these things. I forget the full title of it, but yeah, there was a sequel to this too, and I loved both of them. They're great games. Highly recommend.
All right.
So to finish off 2007, March 2007, we've got March 26th, Medal of Honor Vanguard, which So Medal of Honor was really kind of it was the king of World War II shooters, and then it got dethroned in a big bad way, and then they made a half decent game again, like a pretty solid World War II shooter for what they are. The problem is that they released it on PlayStation 2 and Wii, and not Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. I played a little bit of this, and it was pretty decent. It wasn't like holy crap amazing by any stretch of the imagination, but it was one of those first person shooters that was on the Wii that again made me wonder why more people didn't take that seriously, because the Wii pointer and nunchuck was about as close to keyboard and mouse as you were going to get on a home console. And
it always seemed to make a lot of sense.
It did.
But it never caught on.
Yeah, it just never really caught on. Because when it worked really well. Like, the Conduit, I got good at that game. Mm-hmm. I've never really been good at first-person shooters. I really got good in Metroid Prime 3, and I enjoyed what little I played of Medal of Honor Vanguard. It was strange that didn't catch on. But then again, the Wii was strange on every level. Its audience, its sales, its everything. It was just freaking weird. But
not a lot of elderly folks playing Medal of Honor Vanguard.
Nah, they didn't really want to relive World War II,
It's like, this is my nightmare. This is my waking nightmare in video game form.
Why are you doing this to me, man? Stop.
Why, Jimmy? You come to visit me. You bring me my herbal soothers. And this shit. Bastard.
So March of 2007, not a great year for Electronic Arts. Not a great month for Electronic Arts.
No. EA, man, that's a whole nother show. Anyway.
It is. All right, let's jump in the way back machine. Back another 10 years to 1997. And I'm going to go ahead and I put these listed backwards for some reason, so I'll just read them in reverse order.
Okay.
First up, March 4th, 1997, Turok for Nintendo 64.
Yay!
Holy crap.
Turok.
Love this game.
Turok's fun.
Turok's great.
Based off of a comic book franchise that nobody fucking read.
Yeah, no, that was not really a thing. It definitely wasn't popular at the time.
No,
but
I read it, but
I did. I rented this game on N64, and I remember very specifically being so impressed with it because I loved the original Doom like a lot. I loved Doom, and when I played Turok and you jumped off a cliff and he grabbed on a cliff and the animation of him climbing up and then back up there, just all from first person, I was so blown away by. Now, this is not a game that you should go back and play.
No, no, not even a little bit. If you have
fond memories of this, it's ugly. Much like most Nintendo 64 games, it has not aged particularly well. But back at the time, I really liked this one. I liked this one a lot.
The dinosaurs looked cool.
They did, yeah.
The people looked
cool,
awful.
And I loved fighting them. I loved fighting them.
Yeah, that was the coolest part. The humanoid things in this game looked atrocious. As it was the shoulders. That's what they couldn't get right in the 64 games.
Well, it's just everything was so damn blocky.
Well, but the shoulders especially, it was and here is where we attach the shoulder. It was very stuck on. It wasn't part of the body. It was just, this animates independently of the body. It just happens to be right fucking next to it. But the dinosaurs looked cool and they were fun to fight. And Turok has always been such a cool concept, that it was oh yeah, this is sweet, man. I dig this.
Yes, indeed. And Turok is the franchise that brought us the great Tobias Bruckner,
Well,
the single greatest villain in the history of video games. Tobias Bruckner.
that's pretty great.
Yeah.
Pretty excellent.
So Turok, really, really good game. Now,
Yeah, don't go back and play it.
I'm uncertain of a lot of the specific dates going forward.
Sure.
Because a lot of them are March 31st, which I don't necessarily believe to be true.
Right.
So let's just move on to another N64 game, Blast Corps, which is another neat game. It's a rare joint for a Nintendo 64. It was March 24th. I believe that to be about right. This is a cool game.
It's a very cool game. When I was living in Texas, there was my neighbor was this young autistic kid who was super into video games. And when he found out that I was into video games, we were best friends. Like, he just was knocking at the door all the time. And he showed up at the house one day and was like, I just got this game. It's amazing. Have you ever played Blast Corps? And I was like, no shit. Yes, I have. It's a fucking cool game, man. Like, right on. So here it was, and that was like 2 years ago. So, 8 years or 18 years after the game had come out, it still was finding new fans because it's a cool fucking game.
It is, and it's never gotten a sequel, which surprises me. Like, how is what's left of Rare not revisited this one?
Right.
Like, how have they not picked this one's corpse clean?
This seems like an Xbox Live game waiting to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of just you're a thing and there's a bomb on a truck, blow up everything in its way so it doesn't blow up.
Yeah.
There's so much fun to be had there, and it's relatively limited by the N64's just blocky nature. This would be so cool. A modern version of this would be so cool.
It really would. You could do like online co-op and like somebody driving the
online
truck
co-op,
and other people like clearing the area. Like there's a lot of good ideas to be had here, but again, it's fucking ugly. Ugh,
yeah.
God, it's just ugly.
Great music though. Great soundtrack.
Yeah, that's true.
Gotta love that.
Very true.
Blast
Corps was fun, and this one actually has, even though it is ugly as sin, it has aged relatively well because the gameplay is so solid.
Yeah, and like it is ugly to an extent, but it's so simplistic in its design that it doesn't hurt it that much.
It's not distractingly ugly.
Yes, it's not Majora's Mask.
No.
Send your hate mail to mail@geekgate.
No, fuck you. We're right. Don't send any hate mail.
Majora's Mask is a great game, but the N64 version is ugly as sin.
Yeah, it's one of the worst looking games on the platform. There you go. I said it. It's fine.
I don't know that I'd go that far. I've played Body Harvest. Oh God. All right, so let's see. Next up, we got a pair of. Let's move on to Need for Speed 2. PlayStation got Need for Speed 2 in 1997. I never really spent much time with the Need for Speed series. I kind of fell out of racing games after Top Gear on Super Nintendo because I loved Top Gear 1 and 2.
It was good.
On Super Nintendo, and I just never really caught on outside of F-Zero going forward. But always respected the series.
It's super fun. There's ridiculous stuff you can do with it. And it looked good at the time, and like the cars were really fast. It was cool. The series certainly got way, way better as it went on. Mm-hmm. Like the Need for Speed Underground games were way, way better, and Most Wanted or Hot Pursuit, yeah, like those were super fun. But like this was really laying the foundations. They were still trying to be a little bit of a serious racing game here. They before they really ditched that concept and just went all out fun. But like, it's a good game. It wasn't Gran Turismo, but
But what is? Oh, Forza. That's right. And they managed to make one. And they managed to make 3 Forza games in the time it takes them to make one Gran Turismo game.
To make Gran Turismo Prologue, they've made 3 Forzas. Yeah.
Good Lord.
I don't know. I always like the Need for Speeds. They're fun.
All right, so the last two we're going to talk about for the break is a pair of Doom games. Doom came out on Sega Saturn, and Doom 64 came out on Nintendo 64. This is an interesting little duo. I didn't realize these came out so close to one another, and I mean, I'm getting these release dates from Wikipedia, so they could be wrong, but Doom for Saturn is, I believe, just like a PC port of the original Doom. It looks like Doom. Doom 64 was kind of a reimagining, which is really kind of cool. I don't like it as much as the original Doom, because the original Doom was like the kind of heavy metal violence that's just hilariously over the top, and it's just so brutal and loud. And Doom 64 was kind of the first time they went in the direction that Doom went for Doom 3, which was that, you know, they had Trent Reznor do the music for the game. They redrew all the sprites to be much more detailed and dark and creepy looking. It was a really cool game. I do kind of want to go back and play it again, because I think what I liked about it is that it still used sprites the same way Doom did. You know, it didn't just go on full on polygonal, because if it did, then it would look like Hexen or friggin' Quake on the system. You know, they'd just be these giant blocky things. You can't be afraid of that stuff. You just can't.
An absolute shit show.
Yeah. Whereas Doom 64, it used a similar type of sprite work. Obviously, they went a little bit further with it, and because the game was so dark, it kind of worked. Like, Doom 64 is a really unique thing, and I love that they put so much effort into making a specific and unique version of Doom for the Nintendo 64.
It stopped being Evil Dead at this point. Like,
that's perfect. Well done. That's how you say that. Yes.
Yeah. It was no longer Evil Dead. It was now something I was supposed to take serious.
Yeah, and I don't want to take Doom seriously, which is why I think I would like the new Doom, because it doesn't seem like it's taking itself seriously. I don't have a platform that will play new Doom, but I wish I did, because dude, my love of Doom 1 and 2 is supreme. I played those games so much. I would turn on the no clipping mode code and just explore every single IDSPISPOPD. I would play seriously, I'd just load up Doom and I'd go IDDQD for the God mode, and then IDSPISPOPD for all the no clipping mode, and I would just wander around, walking through walls, being God, punching dudes. Like, it's fantastic.
Just looking at shit.
Just trying to figure out all the weird things they did in the game. I played so much Doom. I loved the sound of Doom, the way it looked, the way it felt. It is the most satisfying shotgun I've ever seen in a video game. It's
yeah.
God, I love the original Doom 1 and 2, and I thought Doom 64 was interesting, and I wanted to love Doom 3, but at that point, it was more like Doom 64. It was all taking itself seriously. It was really dark. And what I loved the Evil Dead nature of it. I loved just the stupid freaking chainsaw and the decapitated bunny head at the ending, and
just
all
weird, goofy shit.
Exactly. Like, it was goofy. It was hell. It was grotesque, but it was goofy grotesque. It was cheesy horror movie. It was just delightful. And I you know what? I own the Saturn version. I don't think I've ever even booted it up.
That's not rare for you, though. I mean,
no, it's not rare. It is rare for me to not try a version of Doom. Like, I had to have it because it was freaking Doom. I love Doom. I have Doom on Game Boy Advance, and I don't have it for Super Nintendo. I wish I did, because I rented it. And Doom for Super Nintendo, I don't understand how it exists. It is a functional, playable version of Doom on a goddamn Super Nintendo. It is insanity that is real. Talk about bending a console to your will. Like, that's just ridiculous. Man, I wish they would put Doom on Switch.
Maybe one day, sir.
Just because I want a nice portable version of Doom, like, just to be able to just whip out Doom anytime I want, and just, oh God, imagining playing that at work.
There's got to be an iPad version of Doom, right?
Yeah, but I want the buttons.
Yeah,
I could make it work. I'm sure I could make it work. But, all right, we're running long, as we always do, so we're going to take ourselves a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the wonderful year of 1987.
Yes.
We've got some fun stuff to talk about there. You're listening to the Stone Age Gamer podcast from Geekade.com. So, Stick around. And now here's a look at some of the other original content available right now at geekade.com. Alex Azar has a fresh new entry in his horror movie series. This time he takes a look at The Gallows, a recent release that marks the official 1 millionth entry in the found footage genre. Cue confetti and balloons. Spooky confetti and balloons because it's horror! I got nothing. Is it worth a watch, or will it make you wish to hang yourself in its titular location? Find out in the macabre movie mausoleum, The Gallows.
I can't remember if I've watched this one or not. Tiffany really likes horror movies, so we watched. No, I have not watched this one. No, I was thinking of something. All right, I'll read the article and find out if I should. So, Chris,
Yo.
you probably know this because you're on the show, but the CW, you know, the what does CW stand for?
I don't know, but it's the cross between the WB and UPN.
Oh, I can see how you would get CW out of that. They recently aired their music crossover episode of what? What was it a crossover episode of? That's not in the
Flash and Supergirl.
Oh, Flash and Supergirl. No shit. The Twepcasters have made that their featured topic for the week. But did this pseudo Glee reunion episode live up to its expectations?
Yes.
Did it? Okay, good. Well, now I don't have to listen to the show. Will Mindy Kaling hit it off with Senator Cory Booker? Will future First Lady Mindy Kaling hit it off with future President Cory Booker? Will Karen explode when Riff Trax takes on classic Doctor Who?
Yes.
Find out in this. Yes, probably. In this week's episode 76.
Ooh, actually, I think we did come up with a title.
Oh, did you? Good.
I think so. Let me see if I can find it in real time.
This is riveting. This is riveting professional radio.
Actually, we had a couple of options, so I'm just going to tell you what the options were, and I don't know what Evan's going to go with yet.
Okay.
So it was either Those Are Some Wedding Pants, or my personal favorite, Hot for the Old GG. That's Grant Gustin, by the way.
I don't know what that means, so okay.
He's the guy who plays Flash, and he was also on Glee.
Oh. He is attractive.
I think he's a decent-looking dude, and apparently he can sing he can sing really well. But the dude who plays Win in Supergirl, now that guy can sing.
Yeah?
Oh yeah. This episode was ridiculous. It was so stupid.
It's a musical episode.
It was a good one.
All right.
Anyway, raspberry pie sounds delicious. I mean, after all, you love pie, right?
I do. Cherry pie. I'm a big fan of key lime pie. When it's done really well, nothing better.
Yeah, you're right. I've had good key lime. In fact, Geekade's own Hunter Wild makes a mean key lime pie.
Does he really? That was my wedding cake.
Really?
My wedding cake was key lime pie. Yeah.
That's awesome.
From Whole Foods in Florida because we're hipsters. Yeah, it was good stuff. Anyway.
I love pie. I love apple pie. I'm a big fan of my wife's apple pie. She makes a just killer apple pie.
Apple pie with a slice of cheddar cheese. I know. But for real.
I couldn't get into that, but
really?
A scoop of vanilla ice cream. Now that's my love right there.
See, I was a big Taxi Driver fan when I was a kid, and I was like, apple pie and cheddar cheese. I'm going to try that. Oh my God, this is amazing! Thank you, Travis Bickle. That's the only thing I will emulate from your film.
Apparently, Dean Winchester loves pie. I don't know. I don't watch Supernatural, but my wife does, and she wrote this script. But we're not talking about that kind of pie. No. Geekade's Gabby Robbins has found a whole slew of new applications for her Raspberry Pi Zero W when it comes to home automation. Learn all the cool ways you can use this technology to make your home run more smoothly in A Slice of Pie, located in the think tank.
I really got to get a Raspberry Pi. Seems like something I would enjoy tinkering with.
Yeah, I need to get one too.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's do that.
So, here's a question.
Okay.
Did you enjoy hearing Dean and myself reunited on last week's episode of the Stone Age Gamer podcast?
No, I did not.
Sure you did. I mean, really, who wouldn't?
Me.
Other than you. Because you're an asshat. We've established. Well, if you want more of that, and you like wrestling, and you should, because it's awesome, have I got the podcast for you. Dean and I, that's Dan Ryan, join forces for another episode of our at least once a month wrestling podcast. Download Backdrops and Body Slams Episode 2, Chad Too Bad and the Sea Monster, from your favorite podcast distributor, or stream it at geekade.com.
Now, I don't know almost anything about wrestling, especially what you guys talk about, but the picture for this episode, I don't know if one of those guys was a wrestler, but he looks exactly like the Menomina Muppet.
It's Chad Too Bad. Okay, quick backstory, because it was at least a little bit interesting. Really quick. WWE is currently promoting KFC's new Georgia Gold chicken.
Okay.
So one of the marketing campaigns, there's 4 videos up on YouTube of again, found footage type thing of Southpaw Regional Wrestling, which doesn't exist. They took a bunch of their wrestlers and cut like old, horrible 1980s wrestling shit and like put it together, wrapped around an ad for Ric Flair. It's not Ric Flair, it's a Ric Flair impersonator shilling KFC's new Georgia Gold. It's hysterical. It's all the awful, like, it's Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, but like with real people. It's amazing.
Yikes.
John Cena. John fucking Cena, the biggest star in wrestling in like the last 20 years, plays the host of the wrestling show, Lance Catamaran. And like he spends the 4 YouTube episodes bitching about how he was an actual newscaster in Utica, New York for 6 weeks. Fucking hysterical. So funny.
John Cena is voicing Ferdinand the Bull in the new Ferdinand movie.
Really?
Yeah, they're actually making a movie out of Ferdinand.
No shit.
I used to love that book when I was a kid.
John Cena in it, huh? All right.
John Cena.
These are the longest commercials ever. Does anybody actually even listen to this? If you do, please comment on the fucking Stone Age Gamer page of like, God, we listened to him, but we really wish we didn't have to.
Well, you can catch all this great stuff, plus tons of other articles, videos, podcasts, and more right now at geekade.com. So we're back. We spent a little time talking about wrestling, and that was fun for me.
It's always enlightening.
It definitely enlightening. I am so tired. So let's talk about some games. Let's travel back to 1987.
30 goddamn
years ago.
Jesus.
So, all right, we've got one we want to talk about a whole lot, and 2 that we just want to mention because they're freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Thing number 1, for the Sega Master System, Gangster Town.
Gangster Town was fun.
It was fun. It was a light phaser game.
Yeah, it was a better Hogan's Alley.
Yeah, because it wasn't cardboard cutouts and stuff. It was just like a cool ass gangster game. It was like the car levels, and Gangster Town was freaking cool, man.
Master System was such a good system. There's so many good games on that system that nobody played because nobody in America had one.
Yeah. Lots of people played them elsewhere, but
yeah,
here in America, not so much. Gangster Town is one of those games. It was freaking good. Speaking of games nobody played, another black box game for the NES, Slalom, which we played the theme song to on last week's episode. Slalom is awesome, not only because I think it's one of the only third-party black box games. I guess it wasn't third-party. It was Rare developed it.
Second part, but they weren't second party.
They weren't
at
a
that
second
point,
party
right?
back then, but neither was IREM, and that's what Kung Fu was. So
right.
But either way, Slalom is a fairly unique game. It's a really good downhill skiing game with really awesome music. It's another David Wise soundtrack. Love that guy. And there's like a very oddly like descriptively sculpted ass on your skier.
Well, everybody knows that if you want a descriptively sculpted ass in real life, that you slalom.
You slalom. You go skiing. It's just
That's
like,
how you do it.
there's a pair of butt cheeks on your screen most of the time. It's a pretty fun game. No, I really liked slalom.
It's really fun now if you play it with the Simpsons clip in your head of stupid sexy Flanders as he's like shaking his ass back and forth. It really changes the game for the better.
It really changes everything for the better. No, I dug the hell out of slalom. That was I
it was
played it
cool.
at my friend Joey's house, and I was like completely blown away by it because I don't think it was on any of those like posters that I had when I like the Now You're Playing with Power posters. I think it was on the earlier ones with the Rob units, but that was a little bit before I got the NES. So when I had the posters, slalom was never on it. So when I saw this black box game that I had never seen before, I was like, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? And I plugged it in and I just loved it. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Well,
big old orange butt on the screen.
For listeners young enough to not remember, a black box Nintendo game was kind of a big deal.
I mean, they were kind of like, they were the only games on the system at first. Like that was the black box games they were all the originals, and then they started getting all more colorful and stuff.
But that was the identifiable mark on them of like, oh, this is like an original NES game. Like this is what Nintendo chose to introduce video gaming back into mainstream culture with. Giant orange asses on your screen.
And not a giant orange ass.
Maybe not giant, but
it was like it was enough to see the crack, and
it was very well highlighted crack,
very well sculpted butt,
just crackalicious, crackalackin'. That's right. We've hit that point of the show. Things are crackalackin' here in North Kakalaki. Anyway. So, all right, fuck all this shit. Pro wrestling came out in 1987.
It is the 30th anniversary of pro wrestling for NES. Holy crap, what a great game.
30 years and nothing.
Nothing. I don't know who owns this stuff, because I know the dude who did this game moved on to do Fire Pro.
Right, and Fire Pro is...
It's its own empire, you know? It's its own thing. But I feel like... I gotta think that Nintendo owns these characters. Like that seems right to me I don't understand how this hasn't been rejuvenated in some way, shape, or form. I just don't get it.
Like with all of the popularity of wrestling throughout the years, the ups and downs of the wrestling industry, not just in North America, but in Japan as well. And they're both like currently right now in 2017, they're both kind of at a very high level between the WWE and Ring of Honor and even TNA and PWG and a bunch of other shit. Pro Wrestling Magic for our friends over at the podcast that should not be named because they left us. Like in America and like New Japan and Noah and the other stuff that's going on over in Japan, like wrestling is at a big fucking level right now. Like and that doesn't even count the stuff that's going on in Europe and all over the rest of the world. And if you look back at the 90s, how popular wrestling got when everybody was walking around middle school chanting suck it at each other and like pointing at their dicks. It was just fucking like it was everywhere. You couldn't stop. And nothing ever happened. Hayabusa has never made another appearance in a game. The Amazon, King Corn Karn.
Starman.
Fucking Starman. How is... God damn it, Nintendo.
I mean, it's such a great cast of characters. And this game is a huge piece of American pop culture. This game was almost as big as Mike Tyson's Punch-Out on NES.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everybody's played pro wrestling, whether you liked wrestling or not. Like, it was just one of those games. And it's still talked about today, and not just by us on this show. It's very fondly remembered.
Because it's super fun.
It is super fun, and it's where A Winner Is You comes from.
A Winner Is You.
That's
got
part
great music.
Yeah, great music. It's such a part of pop culture here in America, and I guess that's probably why, because it's such an American thing that where it's popular here. I don't know that this game did extraordinarily well in Japan. I know it doesn't have the same pop culture references in Japan, especially the whole Winner Is You thing, because
they didn't fuck up the translation there.
There wasn't anything to translate. It was in Japanese. But no, I mean, I've been saying it for years. I think Next Level Games, the people who did Punch Out for Wii, should do a new pro wrestling game, because they did such a great job of taking everything that made Punch Out good, and I love their animation style, the way they made all those characters move, and I want to see modern takes on these characters. I want to see friggin' Starman and Smash Brothers, you know? I mean,
right?
I'm baffled by this.
There's got to be a reason, and maybe it's just as simple as the reason that Kid Icarus was gone for so long. They just didn't have a good enough idea, I guess. Man,
but that's the thing. Kid Icarus had, like, Pit was in Captain and the Game Master. Kid Icarus had a sequel on Game Boy. Pro wrestling has had nothing.
Nothing.
Like,
literally
not
nothing.
Even, and Pit was a trophy in Smash Brothers. None of these characters in pro wrestling have even been trophies. Although, you know what? I need to look this up right now. I feel like there were stickers of them. Stickers.
I mean, because like, I would buy a Switch if they announced pro wrestling. Without question, that would be enough to get me to buy one.
I would imagine that being true.
I mean, like, and how ridiculous is that? Like, Breath of the Wild is not enough to get me to say, like, yes, I will buy a Switch. But if they announce pro wrestling, I'm getting a Switch.
No matter what it is.
No, just, it doesn't even matter. It could be a card-based fighting game. It could be a reskin of Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker or whatever the fuck the card-based one of those was. Or Metal Gear Acid or whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh, those were horrible, but I would buy it. I would have to.
All right, list of stickers in Smash Brothers Brawl. I feel like if there was ever another appearance of friggin' pro wrestling, it was in Smash Brothers Brawl as a sticker, because they made stickers for friggin' everything.
I mean, and maybe it's because these characters were so closely identified with their counterparts, like King Slender being Ric Flair, Giant Grey Panther being, or Giant Panther being Hulk Hogan, you know.
Crap, no, there wasn't even any stickers for it in Smash Bros.
They must not own it.
Yeah,
that has to be the reason.
The rights have to be tied up somewhere. That's just not theirs. That's the only thing I can possibly think of. I mean, what other reason could there be? I mean, love this game.
Look, let me put it like this, just like some real talk here for a second. Trying to find this out, and there's no way I'm going to be able to like find this out right now, but I think about and talk about and have written about and this game so much that when I type NES into my Google Chrome search bar, pro wrestling is one of the things that populates. Like that's one of the automatic suggestions. It was the third wrestling game on the Nintendo after Muscle and Tag Team Wrestling, and those games suck. There has to be a reason. And there's nothing, like the Wikipedia page has nothing.
Yeah, no real like clues as to what the actual hell.
Maybe Masuda, the producer, owns the characters, but they've never been in Fire Pro. I mean, like, Hayabusa is just kind of generic enough to be like, all right, well, he was in Fire Pro, but like, man. And why were the characters that were on the cover never in the game? That always bothered me when I was a kid. That's the only complaint I had about this game. Who the fuck were those two guys?
I mean, not that they were all that interesting, but...
No, but who the fuck were
dude
they?
With the orange helmet or whatever the heck?
Yeah. Orange helmet and generic white guy. Who the fuck? Like, man, I wish I knew. I wish I knew more. Please, somebody listening, somebody out there has to know more than we do.
Yeah. Find the answer to me. Why hasn't there been a new pro wrestling? And why can't we get there to be a new pro wrestling?
I want it.
You know, because like now
so
I can
bad.
see why it wouldn't have happened in the 90s, and I'm kind of glad it didn't. You know, it's kind of like I'm similarly glad that we didn't get a Metroid 64. You know what I mean? Like if pro wrestling, I would have hated to see them take a route where they tried to make that more serious. You know what I mean? And lose. But now we're at a point where shit like Rocket League is obscenely powerful. So it's like. Popular. And
Yeah.
it's like the absurdity of things like that is completely acceptable, and the absurdity of pro wrestling is part of what made it so great. And I think that the time is right. The time is now. It's 30th anniversary of this game, and nobody's mentioning it. Why?
It's just beautiful. I love
is.
it. I love the way the game controls. I love the way it plays. I wrote a Why I Love Wrestling video games article about it because it's one of the things that I'm doing with Why I Love Wrestling this year is once a month I'm jumping back and highlighting some wrestling video games that came out. And the first one I did was about pro wrestling because I honestly deeply love this game. It is not a very deep grappling system. There's not a ton of moves and whatever. But there's so much charm in this game, and it plays so well for what it is, and was so cool at the time. And like being able to go outside the ring and jump out, like do a fucking a plancha. You could plancha outside the fucking ring. Like this game was insane, man. It was so good.
So much
Characters were so fun and so interesting. The music was great. I mean, and please don't confuse this with the
Sega Master System.
The Sega Master System one where the cover is the guy without a head. He's holding his own head in a headlock. And like that game was fun. I liked that game.
Was weird. It was like a reskinned version of an all-female wrestling game in Japan.
And it was all tag teams and shit. And like, it was cool. I played a lot of that game, but man, like NES Pro Wrestling, dude, the game is where it's at. Fucking love that game so much. Now I'm sad.
Yeah. Well, before we get any more depressed, we're going to call it a night. I also, because I'm so tired.
Because it's late.
It is late. It is late. We talk. Dan and I like to talk, in case you hadn't noticed. That's our show. Join us next week as we honor April Fool's Day by talking about games we felt like fools for buying. Once again, you can get in touch with us at mail@geekade.com, as well as all flavors of social media that we inhabit. You can like us on Facebook, find us on Instagram at Geekade, subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch channels for all our latest video content, or follow us on Twitter at _Geekade. You can also find us individually on Twitter. I'm at Geekade Kris, that's Geekade Kris, and Dan is at
Geekade Dan.
If you're interested in more information about anything we discussed here tonight, be sure to check out our show notes, and while you're at it, you can also subscribe to this and any of our other wonderful podcasts on iTunes or Stitcher, or if you're super nice, you can leave us a review because any and all feedback is welcome and appreciated. We'd also like to thank our intrepid editor, Evan, for making this show listenable. I screw that up every week.
1 week you will get that right. I'm very excited for that week.
It's kind of a tongue. It's hard to say. Intrepid editor, Evan. Listenable for you folks. We'd also like to thank Mark TDK Knight for our show's theme. You can check him out on SoundCloud and Bandcamp, or his website, which we have linked to in the show notes. Again, always remember to keep your eyes on Geekade.com, where we do our best, but occasionally fail, to post something new every single day. That's all I got, everybody. I am going to pass out. You know what, I say that, but I'm just going to grab the Switch and play Zelda in bed.
Yep, I'm just going to be out for, a few more hours.
I'm such a bad person. On behalf of myself and Dan, keep playing games.